good to be back for another episode.
Yes! Yes! Praise! Hallelujah!
Yo, what's up, world? Welcome back to the channel. APWSPORTS signing in, and welcome back to yet another episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. This is season 6, episode 7. I know I took a week off last week, but I had a lot of different things going on, and I unfortunately was unable to record and unable to get it done. But I am back this week and with another episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. In today's episode, we're going to talk about, yes, another thing that regards the Bears draft. Now, of course, the Bears already traded back for the #1 overall pick. We've been ramping up a little bit of a talk, so there's been a lot of discussions about the Bears possibly moving back again from that #9 pick that they traded with the Carolina Panthers. Today, we're going to talk about the scenarios that could possibly be, teams that they could possibly trade back with, players that they could possibly pick if they were able to move back. We're going to discuss all that in today's episode, and stay tuned towards the end episode. I'm going to do a mock trade of the #9 overall pick and what I personally would do if I was the Bears and if I was the GM and trading back. So stay tuned for that. But make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow and to boost the YouTube algorithm. And if you are a person that is a first-time viewer or you're watching my videos and you're not subbed, make sure you click the subscribe button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post and bigger things to come. But with all that said, it's time for another episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. Without further ado, let's dive into it. Time to go over a couple of teams that could be in a scenario to trade up to the #9 pick with the Bears. Now, one team that is starting to come to mind, and I think is a little bit of a dark horse of a team that could possibly move up to that spot, is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The players I could look for the Pittsburgh Steelers to select is, what if Skoronski is still on the board from Northwestern to help with their offensive line? What if Paris Johnson Jr. is still on the board at #9 and they want to move up? And they could use some wide receiver help, in my opinion, because outside of Deontay Johnson and George Pickens, it's not really much at that wide receiver position for the Pittsburgh Steelers to speak of. Anthony Miller, former Bear, it's not the same player. Gunnar Olszewski, well, and you don't really have much at that wide receiver position, and I think you can accumulate more weapons to help out a young quarterback in Kenny Pickett with the Steelers. I believe that the Steelers could be a dark horse, a sleeper team that could possibly trade up with the Bears at #9. Now, as things stand now, the Bears have picks 9, 53, 61, and 64, while the Steelers have 17, 32, 49, and 80. Some of the thought process that some of those picks of the Steelers could be used to move up. Of course, you're going to exchange 9 and 17. They would probably have to throw in 49, and the Bears probably throw in 64 or something like that in order for the Steelers to move up to #9. And I am one to believe that the Steelers are in a position still with that defense to the side of the ball that they need to win now. And then the Bears on top of that, if the Steelers were to move up, they could accumulate more picks in the second round, and possibly if they throw in something from next year to help the Bears accelerate the rebuilding of this roster. Another team that could possibly be in the discussions is the Tennessee Titans. Now, the Tennessee Titans, I think they will probably be the team that will probably move up for a quarterback. I don't know what spot in particular that they can move up to. I did a video about them moving up 3. In this scenario, they're probably going to move up to 9, and they already sit at the #11 overall pick, which is moving up 2 spots to get ahead of the Bears to select their quarterback. Now, we probably know C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young is probably going to be off the board. Anthony Richardson could possibly be off the board by then too. So Hendon Hooker and a guy like Will Levis could be quarterbacks that could be had at that #9 overall selection. Do the Tennessee Titans move up? Now, the benefit of trading with the Tennessee Titans for the Bears is that the Bears can still have that offensive line prospect in Skoronski have that prospect in a guy like Paris Johnson Jr., and they can still have a guy like Jackson Smith-Exhibit on the board still to help address their needs on the offensive side of the ball. Possibly, maybe if a Jalen Carter was to even slip there, moving back 2 spots is not a big of a hurt for the Bears to do, because they can still get the player that they will want and that will fit the needs of this football team, still sitting at number 11 versus moving back further in a Pittsburgh Steelers trade. So I think the Tennessee Titans is a team that could still move up, and the Bears can still benefit by not moving so far back and getting the players that they want. Another team that has been in discussion is the New York Jets. Now, I did a short on this channel about my thoughts of a scenario with the Jets trading up, and the Jets are probably trading up more than likely to get a guy like Jalen Carter. Now, I personally don't think a trade like that could happen, because I think if Jalen Carter falls to the Bears at 9, there is no way they're not going to take a guy like Jalen Carter to help with the trenches and to help with the defensive front that was struggling in 2022. Now, the Jets have reason to move up. Of course, the Jets, I don't think they're going to have that pick, assuming that the Aaron Rodgers trade happens either before or on draft night. So I personally don't think the Jets are going to be a big player in moving up to get the number 9 overall pick, as the New York Jets, as we stand, currently sit at that 13th overall selection. So the Bears aren't moving further back either, opposed to a trade like the Pittsburgh Steelers, where they will be moving to 17. They will only be moving to 13 in the trade with the Jets. But of course, some other things have to be involved, and you guys know I'm not the best of GMs, but it's probably going to be some second rounders and probably some picks down the line. I just personally don't think moving back is going to benefit the Jets. And if Jalen Carter sits at 9, the Bears are no way going to pass him up. And you could probably still get one of your offensive line prospects if you were to move back to 13. I just don't see that happening with a team like the Tennessee Titans. They could possibly take that line. Houston Texans, they need everything, so they could take anything in this draft. I just don't think a good scenario moving back with the Jets, and if Jalen Carter is the answer for the Jets, it wouldn't be a big thing for the Bears to do. Now, another team that could possibly be on the radar, I think it's 2 teams, Washington Commanders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, both teams, I think, are looking for quarterback. We have the Commanders with Sam Howell on their roster. They lost Taylor Heineken in the offseason. And you have a team with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, who they signed this offseason on the roster. In my humble, honest opinion, I don't think a trade with the Buccaneers happened, because the Bears are moving further back to 19 versus 16 with the Commanders, or 17 with the Steelers, or 11 with the Tennessee Titans. So I think a trade to move back from number 9 to 19 is very, very unlikely, because the Bears will miss out on possibly all of the prospects that they've been meeting with and looking at number 9, like a Carter, like a Jackson Smith-Exhibit, Skoronski, Johnson Jr. All those guys will be gone by that number 19 overall selection. A trade with the Commanders is more of a possibility, because I think either or team is probably going to look up the trade to get their quarterback. The Commanders, like I said, has Sam Howell. We don't know. Buccaneers, Kyle Trask and Baker Mayfield, and Baker Mayfield is not a long-term answer, and we just don't know what we're going to get from Kyle Trask, because he hasn't really played. Of course, they have to go Tom Brady. Those are 2 possible teams that could move up to number 9, but I personally don't think a trade like that is actually going to happen, but that is something they could look at. Of course, we're only going to do the first round. Of course, we're picking the Bears, and we're going to go at a slower draft speed to see how this simulation goes. I could do possibly a second one, which I just might, depend on how this one goes. Okay, we're going to do the draft, and the Panthers are going to take C.J. Stroud number 1, which means Anthony Richardson goes ahead of Bryce Young at 2, Tyree Wilson instead of Will Anderson Jr. at 3, Bryce Young at the Colts at 4, Will Anderson goes to the Seahawks at 5, Christian Gonzalez goes to the Lions at 6, Paris Johnson Jr. goes to the Raiders at 7, and Miles Murphy goes to the Falcons at 8. Okay, so we have 3 trade offers. Pick 9 and pick 103 for pick 38, 7,100 Josh Jacobs, and the Las Vegas second-round pick. I don't think that is a scenario. The Bears are still going to want to stay in the first round, even though we do get Josh Jacobs. He's going to come with a high price tag, and I'm not sure that Ryan Poles, is going to pay that price, so I don't think this is a deal they're going to take. And I wouldn't take it personally. Pick 9, pick 103, then the Giants give us pick 25, pick 57. Cornerback Adoree Jackson in the second round of next year. Even though the Bears can use some corner help, I don't think they move that further back. And I personally would move that further back in the draft. And the next one is that pick 26, and they get pick 58. And this is a lot. This is a lot to give up to move for number 9. Just still don't personally think that the Bears are going to really take any of these offers because they're moving so much further back. So in this scenario, I'm going to reject, and reject. But I am going to propose a trade, and I think it's going to be with the team like the Tennessee Titans. Now, of course, we're going to get number 9, and they're going to give us 11. And in order to move up, I think they could possibly, if they're going to move for a quarterback, and this is only if they're going to move for a quarterback, I think they give up a first next year, and I think the Bears give them like a 3rd round pick. And I'm not good at trade, so the trade was declined, of course. I'm still thinking the Tennessee Titans are an option, so I'm going to redo that. Pick 9, pick 11, and I think a 2nd rounder in next year's draft, and we're going to give them a 3rd rounder, and that was declined as well. Even though I do think the Tennessee Titans are moving, I'm going to make them one more offer, 9 and 11. I think we can give them 64, and they will give us 72 in the 2nd rounder, and it was declined again. I had to wish they had a forced trade thing on. So could a team like Philly move up 9, 10, and then the 2nd round of next year? So with this, okay, I'm going to get them 9. We're going to get them 11. We can turn Tennessee again, get them 64. They give us a 2nd rounder. They give us 72, and it was declined. So if this thing stays status quo, which I don't think the Bears are trading, they're going to take Jalen Carter right here at this pick. But now I'm going to run the simulator once again, and we're going to have, of course, take the Bears, and they're going to slow draft, so we're going to redo it. C.J. Stroud still goes number 1. Bryce Young goes number 2. Jalen Carter actually goes 3. Anthony Richardson in the trade with the Buccaneers, one of the teams. The Bears can go 4. Will Anderson still goes 5. Christian Gonzalez still goes 6. We're going to have Paris Johnson Jr. still goes 7. And we're going to have Tyree Wilson go 8. We're at 19 with the Colts. I don't think the Colts are going to move back up, but they could take a quarterback with this selection, and we have one offer. And just out of curiosity, I'm going to accept this, and I'm going to see what the Colts take. They take Myles Murphy, even though this is an unrealistic scenario. I'm going to restart this. This is the last run I'm going to go through, just to show you guys maybe the potentials that could happen. Okay, C.J. Stroud still goes 1. Bryce Young still goes 2. Will Anderson goes 3, which I think is the actual scenario that happens. And I think Anthony Richardson goes here instead of Levis, honestly. Wilson goes 5. Bijan Robinson, I don't think he's going to go that high. Paris Johnson Jr. is still off the board. And Broderick Jones is off the board. And the Bears doesn't have any proposed trades, so we're going to take Myles Murphy out of that. Clemson, I don't think the trade is going to be happening. I'll be honest with you. And I think the Bears eventually are going to stay at 9. That is going to conclude this week's episode of Chicago Bears Weekly. Make sure you guys leave this video a like as it continues to help this channel to grow. Comment you guys' thoughts down below. Did I miss any team that I could potentially have a trade with? Do you guys think that they will actually move back, or do they stay at 9? What would you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And as always, click the sub button and notification bell so you will not miss any of the videos that I post. But I am APWSPORTS signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great next day. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.